Hello dear students. In the previous video of part 1 of chapter 10 wave optics, we have studied first topic as wavefront and second one was Huygens principle. What was wavefront? The wavefront was continuous locus of such particles which vibrate in same phase, whereas Huygens principle was that every point or each point on a wavefront act as a fresh source of new disturbance or new waves, and those waves are called secondary waves or wavelets. These secondary waves add up to form a new wavefront at any later time. So these are the two topics which we have studied in the last lecture. Today we are going to study reflection of light, on the basis of wave theory. Reflection of light on the basis of wave theory. This is the topic. Let us understand. Now suppose this is the surface of a mirror and from a distant source two rays of light are falling on this surface. Okay, let me mix the ray of light with some other color. Let this be the ray, the first ray. This is going to be your second ray. Okay, these rays are parallel to each other. Now what happens? They reflect from here. They reflect like this. Okay. So how that incident wavefront will be told? As I have told you, when the rays of light are parallel to each other, then the wavefronts are like this. Only the edge can be seen. This plane cannot be seen. Only the edge can be seen. So these are the wavefronts. So for incident wavefront will be like this, and for reflected wavefront, it will be like this. So here at the point of incidence, how the wavefront will be? The wavefront will be like this. This is your wavefront. Let this point be A, let this point be B. So we'll say that AB is our incident wavefront. Okay? In the same manner, let this point be C. Here if we draw the wavefront, it will be like this. Let this point be D. Incident wavefront is AB, reflected wavefront is CD. Okay? Now, what we need to prove, what we need to understand, in the ray diagram, we studied that, in the ray optics, we studied that in the reflection of light, the angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So this thing we have to prove with the help of this ray diagram. How we are able to? Let us see. Let us draw a normal over here. So this is incident ray, this is normal. So this angle is going to be angle of incidence I. Now this ray of light and the wavefront, they makes 90 degree. This wavefront makes with the ray 90 degree. This angle is I, so this angle is going to be 90 minus I. And if this angle is 90 minus I, with this it makes the normal. So its total angle is 90 degree. This is 90 minus I. so this angle will become I only. This is not required. I hope it is clear. It is I. Since wavefront makes with the ray 90 degree, so this angle becomes 90 minus I. Now normal makes with the plane as 90 degree. If this angle is 90 minus I, so this angle is going to be I only. In the same manner here also. This angle is your angle of reflection, R. If this angle is R, then this angle is going to be 90 minus R, because this is the wavefront with the ray. If this is 90 minus R, so this angle will become, from here till here it will become R only. We need to prove this I is equal to this R. We need to prove this I, angle of incidence, is equal to this angle of reflection. Okay, let us do. Consider triangle. Consider triangles ABC, ABC and triangles CDA, CDA. Okay. Now just see, in these two triangles, side AC is common. It is there in both the triangles. It is there in ABC also. It is there in CDA also. AC is common. Moreover, the angle ABC is equal to angle CDA. Why is it so? Because they are 90 degrees. These are the wavefronts, and wavefronts makes with the ray 90 degree angle. So angle ABC is equal to angle CDA is equal to what? Angle 90 degree. Now, one more thing. Let us see. Just see the ray of light. This one. Let this ray be A, let this ray be 2. When the first ray falls on the surface, then the second ray was at B. When the first ray falls on the surface, then the second ray was at B. Now when the second ray falls on the surface, then the first ray is at D. Okay, let me repeat again. When the first ray falls on the surface, at that point of time, the second ray is at capital B. And when the second ray falls on the surface, then the first ray is at capital D. So it simply means that the time taken by the second ray to travel from B to C will be equal to the time taken by the first ray to travel A to D. Then only we can make this CD as a reflected wavefront. Is it clear? The time taken by the light to travel from B to C will be equal to the time taken by the light to travel from A to D. So what we'll say that? We'll say that if CD is true reflected wavefront, if CD is true reflected wavefront, then the time taken by light to travel BC and AD should be same. Okay. Then for the time, we know the formula. Speed is equal to distance upon time. So distance is equal to speed multiplied by time. Okay. Or time is equal to distance upon speed. Okay. So if we put this value over here, so for BC, distance is BC, upon let the speed of light be V here, the small v, must be equal to the distance AD upon V. Now V and V will be cancelled out, and what we are going to have? We are going to have BC is equal to AD. We have angle ABC is equal to angle CDA. We have side AC as common. So we have three conditions. one side AC is common, one angle is equal, another side is equal. Now these two triangles will be, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA. And if they are congruent, then what we can write? We can write angle BAC must be equal to angle DCA. Angle DCA. This angle is equal to I, this angle is equal to R. So basically we have proved that angle I is equal to angle R. I hope it is clear. Okay, so this is how we, with the help of wave theory, we prove angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Okay, now let us move to the next topic. Okay, the next topic is refraction of light. Refraction of light on the basis of wave theory. The refraction of light on the basis of wave theory. Okay, what is refraction? When a light goes from one medium to another medium, then the light deviates from its path. When the light goes from rarer to denser or denser to rarer, the light deviates from its path, and this phenomenon is called refraction of light. In refraction of light, we studied a law which is called Snell's law, which says that sin I upon sin R, means sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction, is equal to refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium, which is further equal to mu2 upon mu1, and if in terms of the speed we can write it is v1 upon v2. This is what the Snell's law, and this holds for all kind of refraction. So here we are going to prove this law, but with the help of wave theory, with the help of wave fronts. Let us see how. Now suppose this is the interface of two medium. This medium is of refractive index mu1, this medium is of refractive index mu2. A parallel beam of light falls on the surface. Okay, a parallel beam of light falls on the surface. Now what happens? I supposed that this medium is rarer and this medium is denser. So what will happen? The ray will bend towards the normal. The ray will bend towards the normal. So this is how the refraction takes place. Okay. Now what we need to understand, how the wavefronts will be like. So for the wavefronts, let us see. The incident wavefronts will be like this, and the refracted wavefronts will be like this. Incident wavefronts like this, refracted wavefronts like this. Now, at the point of incidence, if you draw a wavefront, the wavefront will be like this. This is your wavefront, say A, B. Okay? And at the point of the second ray incidence, if you draw the wavefront will be like this. Okay? Wavefront will be like this. So this is your C and this is your D. Okay? I hope it is clear. Should look like perpendicular. Okay? So this is your D. So AB is your incident wavefront, CD is your refracted wavefront. Now let us define about the angles. The angles we are going to take as this angle is our angle of incidence. This angle is going to be then 90 minus I. How I can say? Say this is ray, this is wavefront, they make 90 degree. If this angle is I, this angle will be 90 minus I. And this angle is 90 minus I, then this angle becomes what? I. Because this is normal, this is plane, so normal makes 90 degree with the plane. This angle is 90 minus I, this angle will be I. This angle is not required now. In the same manner, just see here, this angle is your R angle of refraction. If this angle is r, then this angle is going to be 90 minus r. Okay, with the wave front, this angle is 90 minus r, then this angle is going to be r only. I hope it is clear. This angle is r, so this is wave front, this is ray. The whole makes 90 degree. This is r, this becomes 90 minus r. Now this is normal, this is plane. So we have 90 degree here. So this is 90 minus r. So this angle is going to be what? R. Now we have to prove this one. So we have to keep this thing in our mind. Okay, we have to keep this thing in our mind. Just see in the diagram, in triangle ABC, sin I is equal to what? Sin I is equal to what? So in triangle ABC, in front of I, BC will be perpendicular. So BC upon AC. AC is our hypotenuse. AC is hypotenuse for I, BC is perpendicular, AB is base. So sin I is equal to BC upon AC. Let this be equation number 1. Okay. Now in triangle CDA, sin R will be equal to, now for R, AD will be perpendicular upon hypotenuse is same, that is OAC. Let this be equation number 2. What do you need to prove? We need to prove this one, sin I upon sin R. So sin I is here, sin R is here. From how we can get sin I upon sin R? Definitely we are going to divide the equation 1 with the equation 2. Sin I by sin R will be equal to then. Now AC and AC will be cancelled out. We are going to have BC upon AD. BC upon AD. Now just see about BC and AD. BC is the distance travelled by the light in medium 1. And AD is the distance travelled by the light in medium 2. BC is the distance travelled by the light in medium 1. And AD is the distance travelled by the light in medium 2. And now, if CD is the true reflected wavefront, then the distance, the time in which ray comes from B to C will be the same the light comes from A to D. Means the time taken by the light to travel BC in medium 1 must be equal to the time taken by the light to travel AD in medium 2. Then only we can make this as a reflected wavefront. Suppose if this light is not here, this light is here, then the reflected wavefront will be like this. So the time taken by the light to travel AD in medium 2 must be equal to the time taken by the light to travel BC in medium 1. So what we'll say that? We'll say that, let this be equation number 3. We'll say that if BC, if the reflected wavefront is CD, if CD is true refracted wavefront, if CD is true refracted wavefront, then the time taken by the light to travel what? BC in medium 1 should be equal to the time taken to travel AD in medium 2. If CD is true reflected wavefront, refracted, I am saying reflected. If CD is true refracted wavefront, then the time taken by the light to travel BC, is equal to BC in medium 1 must be equal to the time taken to travel AD in medium 2. Now, again, speed is equal to distance upon time, time is equal to distance upon speed. So here, distance is BC, but medium is changed. Medium is 1. So let the speed of light in this medium is v1. So BC upon v1 must be equal to AD upon the distance traveled in the medium 2. Let this be v2. Now, what we can write from here, BC upon AD is equal to what? V1 upon V2. V1 upon V2. And this V1 upon V2 can be written as mu2 upon mu1 by the definition of refractive index. And mu2 upon mu1 can be written as mu21. So just see BC upon AD is equal to V1 upon V2 and V1 upon V2 is equal to mu21. Let this be equation number 4. Let us write BC upon AD also here. So from equation number 3 and 4, from equation 3 and 4, what we have? We have that sin I by sin R is equal to mu21. And this is what? The Snell's law of refraction. So in this manner, the Snell's law is proved. And this is how we study refraction of light on the basis of wave theory. Okay? So you must note down it, and if you are not able to note down it from here, maybe some words are not clear here, so I'll provide the notes again. In the description, I'll provide the link for the notes. Note down from there only. Okay? Now let us move ahead. Next topic we are going to study is principle of superposition. Principle of superposition. Principle of superposition. First of all, let me tell you that principle of superposition is not for the waves only. It is for every vector quantity. Every vector quantity. Okay. Let me give an example. Suppose this point is given a velocity v1 in this direction and v2 in this direction simultaneously. A particle is given velocity v1 and v2 simultaneously, then what will happen? Where the particle will move? So from the parallelogram law of vector addition, we can say that the particle will move in this direction. With velocity, if you are not able to understand, let us understand with the force. If suppose this particle is given a force of 10 Newton in this direction and 10 Newton in this direction also, then where the particle will move? We'll add vector quantities with the vector laws, and here we have the net force F net. The particle will go in this direction. Okay, so this is how the principle of superposition is. If a particle is given 2, 3, 4, 5, so many vector quantities together, then what is the resultant of those vector quantities on the particle will be the nature of the quantity followed by the particle. Two forces are there. Particle is moving in this direction. So how will you get this direction? By adding these two forces with the help of vector law. Suppose one more force acts there. Suppose 10 Newton here also acts. This 10 Newton will be cancelled out. Particle will go in this direction. So what we have done, we have added all the vector quantities. Okay. So vector quantity could be force, the vector quantity could be velocity, acceleration, anything. Is it clear? So whenever more than 2, 3, 4, whatever vector quantities act on a particle, then the resultant of those vector quantities will be applied on the particle. Same happens with the waves also. Same happens. Whenever a wave travels through a medium, what is the thing it gives to the particle of the medium? The answer is displacement. If this wave travels through a medium, so what it is giving to the particle of the medium? So many things are there, velocity, acceleration, so many things are there. But particles are displaced from its mean position. Say y1. It is the maximum displacement y2. This particle is here, this particle is here, this particle is here, this particle is here. This particle is not here at this time, this particle is here. So these particles are displaced from their mean position. Now what happens, suppose if in a medium, two waves are moving simultaneously. Two waves are there and they are moving in the medium simultaneously. This is the first wave and let this be the second wave. I hope you are able to understand the difference between black and red color. If it is not, then let this be a one wave and this be a second wave. Now what will happen? This particle which is supposed to be here when no waves were there, this particle is displaced by y1. Let me make it separately also. y1 because of first wave. And the same particle should be displaced by y2 by the second wave. Now what will be the resultant displacement of the particle? Yes, you are right, it should be y1 plus y2. So what you have done actually, you have added the displacement. Displacement is a vector quantity, but here the displacements are in same direction. So what we can do? We can add them. Is it clear? So what is happening here? What is happening? The displacement of the particle is the sum of the displacements of the displacements of individual waves, given individual waves, and that displacement is given to the particle. Is it clear? Now suppose if one wave is this way, another wave is this way, then what will happen? Suppose we'll talk about this particle. So this particle is having a displacement y1 because of first wave, and the same particle is having a displacement y2 because of second wave. So what will happen? What will be the resultant? Now we are having y1 in this direction and y2 in this direction. Then the resultant displacement is given by y1 minus y2. Y you have subtracted this time, and this time you have added. Y is equal to y1 plus y2. But this time you have subtracted. Why is it so? Because the waves are giving the displacements in opposite direction. Okay? So what I am trying to say is that whenever two or more waves are moving through a medium simultaneously, then they give displacement to the particle, and the resultant displacement will be given by the sum of individual displacements. But we need to see that the displacements are in the same direction or in opposite direction. So what we do, we associate this displacement with the vector quantity. So what we'll say? We'll say that whenever two or more particles, what is principle of superposition of waves? Let us see. Let us define it. We'll say that principle of superposition, we'll say that when two or more waves travel through a medium simultaneously, then the resultant displacement of any particle at any given time, given instant will be vector sum of displacement given by individual waves at that instant. Is it clear? When two or more waves travel through a medium simultaneously, then the resultant displacement of any particle at any given instant will be the vector sum of displacements given by the individual waves at that instant. Okay? By the formula we can write y is equal to y1 plus y2 plus y3 if more waves are there, plus so many waves are there. Okay? Let us see in the diagram also. If one wave is like this, let me make with the dotted one. Another wave is like this. Then what will happen? The resultant wave will be, if these two waves are added, then displacement of first wave and displacement of second wave will be added. Then the resultant wave will be this manner. Both the displacements are added. So this is going to be our the resultant displacement. Is it clear? Resultant wave. But suppose if the waves are moving in opposite direction, if the waves are meeting in opposite phase, this is the first wave, this is the second wave, then what happens? Now depends which wave have greater displacement. Okay, let me make one smaller, one greater. Then what happens? So this wave is suppose the dotted wave. The wave represented by second one is dotted. Okay. So what will be the resultant wave? Now the bigger displacement. This is a smaller displacement. This is smaller displacement is subtracted from the bigger one. So what we are going to have? The resultant wave. The resultant wave will be like this. So in this case, the displacements are subtracted. I hope it is clear. And it is in the direction of bigger one because bigger displacement subtracted by the smaller one. Now, one case is also possible that if the waves are superposing each other but they are of similar magnitude, similar displacement, another wave is like this, then what will happen? This displacement and this displacements are equal. Then what will happen? The resultant wave will be no wave. Particles will not be displaced because the displacements will be cancelled. Is it clear? In this case, displacement is added everywhere. In this case, it is subtracted. And in this case, displacement is 0 because y1 and y2 are equal at every point. So this is what the principle of superposition is. Okay. So this is the last topic for the day. For the next video, there are some topics I'll suggest you to revise before attending the next lecture. Those topics are phase difference, and equation of a progressive wave. These three topics you have to study before attending the next lecture. It was in the last chapter of class 11. Okay. Again, I am telling you, I am providing the notes of all the topics we have covered today. Today we have covered 3 topics. One is reflection of light. One is refraction of light. Another is, you are looking at here, it is principle of superposition. So all the topics I will provide the notes in the description link. Go through the notes and write the notes in your fair copy. So this is all for today. We will meet tomorrow with some new topics. Okay. Thank you.